This is Capital Games, I am The Wiz, and this is the final weekly dividend for June 9th, 2023, 69. Nice. Yeah, this is the final weekly dividend, everybody. If you haven't noticed, things are starting to change on the channel, and I'm going to have a formal announcement on Sunday. But with that change, this is going to be the final weekly dividend I'm having. The reason why... The reason why me and Zero did the weekly dividend in the first place is we covered one topic. We were a weekly podcast before we started doing more and more content, and we would cover a bunch of stories throughout the week on our podcast once a week. Then we decided to do podcasts and episodes about 3 times a week. And then when we started noticing we want to talk more on other topics, we created this show, The Weekly Dividend, where we would go over the news that we didn't get to talk about throughout the week. Well, after Zero left and had to do his thing, can't tell you what, but he's doing well, I decided to keep this going by basically doing the same thing that we did before. Basically, I'll cover one topic throughout the week in 2 episodes, and then whatever I didn't cover would be the weekly dividend. Well, then I changed it up again and started doing gaming news roundups throughout the week. Now, that became kind of a problem because while doing the roundups, I skipped a bunch of stuff throughout the day that I would have liked to cover because I said, well, I need something for the dividend, so I'll probably just save that for Friday. And because that doesn't really make much sense anymore, I'm going to stop doing weekly dividends from now on. Now, this type of content where I am playing a game and talking about stuff or the game while playing it, that's going to continue. It's going to be a different thing that I'm going to announce on Sunday. But in terms of playing a game and talking about the news, this is the last episode. So I hope you guys stick around for all the new changes. I'm going to cover all the gaming news throughout the week. Instead, I'm not going to skip anything more just to hold it for today. So if you are interested, stick around. We're going to see some changes, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. I'm playing Diablo 4 today, as you can see. And yeah, I'm having a very good time. I'm at level 30. I'm going to hit 31 pretty soon. I finished Act 1. I take my time when playing games. So if a game is long, it's going to take me a while to actually play it. So I'm figuring we can... Ooh, that's lovely. I'm figuring we can keep going and see what happens as the time goes on. But yeah, about the game so far, I'm actually really enjoying it. I get the criticisms that people have of this game. And it's not like the other Diablos because of the open world aspects. And I can understand why people who are used to Diablo the way it has been for a long time, being a little miffed that they decide to change things. But I actually kind of like the change. Now, I will say when I do another character for the next season, I don't want to go through this whole shtick again. But apparently, I don't think they do that. They let you just do an adventure mode style game where I guess you just do missions or something along those lines to level your character up, which is neat and everything. There we go. I should probably talk about my build a little bit. I have what's called, what's the term? I have what's called an Earth Landslide build for a Druid. And what it is basically is you use your left stick, I'm sorry. You use your left mouse button to use Earth Spike. And this builds up your spirit. Right does Landslide, which is supposed to be your main damage dealer. Now, on 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1 is Hurricane, which causes an AoE effect that will damage enemies as they're coming to you. I think 2 is Earthen Bulwark, which gives you a shield that makes you immune to damage for a small period of time. 3 is Vine Creeper, or Poison Creeper, I should say. With Poison Creeper, there's something that goes around you while you're moving. You might notice it right now. That surrounds enemies and poisons them a little bit. Now, if I activate Poison Creeper, it immobilizes them and poisons them. Okay? And then 4 right here is Trample. And this is basically a crowd control effect. So let me get some enemies here so I can showcase that. If there are any enemies. That's weird. What's a Diablo game without enemies? Come on, man. Let me kill people, for goddammit. Come on. Give me some skeletons. Some goatmen. Come on, let's go. Oh, man. Okay. Here we go. So, Trample turns into a bear, and he starts moving people around. There we go. Which pushes them around and controls where they land. So the basic thing you're supposed to do is your left Earth Spike to gain more spirit, which is then you use your spirit to do Landslide, which is supposed to be where most of your damage comes from. You put 1 for AoE, 2 for a shield, usually when you need it, 3 if you want more crowd control and poison, and then 4 for Trample if you want to keep people away from it. It's a decent build. I used Icy Veins to find this build, and it's actually been working pretty well with me thus far. So yeah, it's an interesting build. I am enjoying it. I will say I had the intention of using a Druid as a tank more than anything, but this is actually not a bad build. I'm actually enjoying playing this type of character. Alright. Let's get into my gear so far. Okay. It's pretty standard. I have a bunch of rare stuff right here. I don't have any of the abilities that came from what's it called? What you get from the dungeons. Let me figure out what they're called. Yeah. I don't have any aspects that are usable for what I have. So I have no aspects right now. Yeah, so I don't have any aspects on my gear, so nothing too big right now. Alright. Let me get back to my gear. I found this one right here from a drop. And it's actually not bad. I actually like this one. You may have noticed that when I get a certain amount of attack, a shield comes up. This is from this amulet right here. When hit while not healthy, and I think healthy is like a certain amount of HP gone, you get a bubble that surrounds you for about 7.5 seconds, and while you're staying in there, you're immune. But yeah, everything else is kind of some rare drops. That's it. Nothing else with that one. So I don't have my whole build going right now. But I am enjoying how everything is as we speak. Okay. So, why don't we get into some of the top stories that happened throughout the week? Let's talk about Diablo 4. It got an open critic of 89, which is, I believe, a mighty rating. And the fan reception seems to be fairly positive. A lot of people are enjoying it. I know a lot of Diablo diehards don't really like the direction of it going open world. But I get the feeling that Diablo 4 is probably going to be a different beast in this one. So, what it might lose in some of those hardcore fans, it might gain from others. Oh. Okay. But yeah, I am having fun with this game. I'm glad I got this game as well. I'm really wondering how much I will do on Endgame. To be completely fair on that one. So I'm not sure about Endgame specifically, but when I get there, I'll talk about it. And then the other one was that Microsoft got fined $20 million by the FTC for illegally storing children's information. We talked about that on Wednesday. Basically, Microsoft says it was a glitch. They didn't mean for it to happen. Basically, a way... basically, what happened was when people opened new accounts, you had to put all your information in order to open them. But it wasn't until the end of the opening process, if you were under the age of 13, that it would then ask for you to get a parent's permission, by which point it was supposed to delete all that information, but apparently through a glitch it didn't. And Microsoft admitted they were wrong, and it shouldn't have happened. They accepted the fine.
At least, it is us who will protect this village with our lives.
Let it be.
There is an ominous fog uphill. Mad spirits emerge from it. They'll be
here we talked about that in there. I did a reaction video over what was highlighted on Summer Game Fest. So let's talk about some of the things that were announced. I'm going to go with positives, could have gone either way, and negatives from the stream. And overall, it was fine. Most of the announcements were good, but nothing amazing. I would say like the C plus B minus kind of show. Positives first. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth looks really good, and it's making me want to go ahead and try Remake before that comes out. It actually started very good, and apparently it's going to be huge because it's going to be 2 discs of Blu-rays on that. So interesting to see. The second positive, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This has been getting some really negative reaction. First, people are like, oh, this isn't Prince of Persia, when really, this is what Prince of Persia originally was. So I guess for somebody who remembers the original, I am like, oh, that's awesome. I would love to play that. But I guess in this one, they're doing like a Metroidvania kind of thing, which I would definitely check out. The other things that they had problems with the trailer specifically is the music and the way they edited it from that. And I kind of agree with that. The music just felt really off with Prince of Persia. So I can definitely agree with that at least. But to give it an overall negative response was kind of surprising. Because I actually liked what I saw of that. Now, if that turns out to be a $70 game, then I'm gonna say hell no to that. That should be a $30 game. But I can see.
I need to persuade him just to let me leave the bloody key.
I can see Ubisoft trying to sell that for much more than it should. So let's hope they're not that dumb. I'm going to check my build real quick to see what exactly I have to get. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. No, I don't think this is the right one. Wait a minute. Actually, this is the right one. Here we go. Alright. Yeah, like I said, I'm following a build guide on this, so if I have to stop every time I do a a level up, I'm sorry, but I want to make sure I've got the build correctly. I think in next seasons, I'm going to not go through builds like this, but on the first season, or not even the first season, but when I play the game first, I kind of want a guide on this, so... Alright. But yeah, like, I actually liked what I saw of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I do think that if it's $70, hell no am I not paying that. But I can definitely see Ubisoft trying to justify that for $70, which would be insane at that point. So we will see what happens when we hear more about that game in the future. Another positive that I had when it came to the Summer Game Fest was Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. I really like what I'm seeing of that, so I am definitely looking forward to it. I only played a little bit of Yakuza 0, but you know what it's like when dealing with a series that is as long as Yakuza, and you want to get through all those games, and I've only gotten through parts of 0.
To the east that will lead us there.
But I think I will still give this game a shot because it's a spin-off to a certain extent. So I don't think you need to know what happens.
I recognize these people.
I don't think you need to know what happens in the older versions. So, anyway. Next one is Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 looked pretty good too. I wasn't a big fan of 1, but I do like the visual style and the choices that they're making with the story. So I think that looks interesting. I'm really curious as to what's going to happen with this game sales-wise when it's only going to be out in digital. Although I do think people are blowing a little out of proportion by calling it such a travesty that this game is going to have to be digital only. I get you want your physical games, but companies are going to go down this route at some point, so... We'll see how it lands. Okay, and then the final positive I have is Marvel Snap Quest mode, or Conquest mode. Yeah, I'm a big Marvel Snap fan. I've been playing it since it came out. I think it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. And they're having a new mode called Conquest, where if I want to be more competitive, I can do that in that mode, and I'm probably going to get into it, so...
That's the entrance to the cairns ahead. Wait, why is the passage blocked?
So, yeah, I'm going to definitely look forward to that.
Sealed. But
my decisions for could go either way.
Druid runes.
Lies of P.
The
I'm
howl-
kind of interested in it, but...
Oh, no.
It's one of those things that I want to see what the reviews are like. So it will be interesting to see how that turns out when it comes out. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. I know people don't like free-to-play games. I'm starting to warm up to them a little bit, but it seems like a decent free-to-play game. I kind of wish this was on consoles, but I guess I kind of understand why they're not doing it on consoles. Kill all these things first.
I must wait a minute.
All right. There we go.
I'm not ready.
Okay. How many more waves do I have? Oh my god, more? Okay, so this is the boss. Alright. There we go. All taken care of.
It worked. Something's rousing the spirits from their
Okay.
rest. We should make haste with
So my other one that can go either way is Sonic Superstars. I've said in the past, I'm not a Sonic fan. It looked decent, but even when people say, oh, this Sonic game's great, I don't like it. So I'm not... Again, could go either way. If you are a fan of that stuff and you are into it, great. Good for you. I think you might actually have a good game on your hands. Though, but with that, I'm just not a Sonic fan. So, it looked okay, but I know I'm not going to like it. So, I'm like, alright, whatever.
Yet, Merida's absence gives me greater concern.
Oh, let me get to one other positive before I get to my negatives. I think the troll job that Jeff Keighley did with that DoorDash commercial was great. It's like, hold on. But, yeah. Okay, so anyway, negatives. Some of you are going to be angry about this, but I didn't react very well to Mortal Kombat 1. And I'm not saying it looks bad, but it looks way too much like Mortal Kombat 11. Like, way too much. Like, to me, it just looks like Mortal Kombat 11, but with an MVC2 tag system. And
You've never been here.
I don't know how that's going to work out. I'll have to see. But so far, I went from being like, all right, a new Mortal Kombat to, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
The spirit should be free to
And then the other negative I have is the Twisted Metal TV show. Good Lord, that looks awful. Oh my God. That was painful to watch. And you know, Anthony Mackie and Will Arnett aren't bad. But shit, that was like awful. The jokes didn't land. It looked cheesy. The stunts weren't really that great. It was so bad. I couldn't believe how bad it was. Here we are thinking that, oh wow, with The Last of Us, and I guess Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't know, actually being decent TV shows and games, maybe we'll start having more decent other media things with games. And then here comes Twisted Metal and said, nah, bitch. We want it cheesy as hell, bro. And that's what they did. So overall with Summer Games Fest, I thought it was alright. I would get, if I, honestly, my grade would be like a C+. But it really cemented home for me that the next 6 months are likely to be pretty light. So we are having a top-heavy year, where the first half of the year has all the great games, and then the second half, it kind of just dies. You get your FIFAs, your Maddens, your NBA 2Ks, and then you'll have some decent announcements here and there, but after that, it looks like it's going to be not as good as the beginning half. Which is fine. You don't need to have every month to be bangers. Gotta save money somehow, you know? But yeah, this wasn't terrible. But I do understand why some were kind of bored by it at the end. I know a lot of mobile games are there too, so that was kind of weird.
I must wait a minute. I'm out of spirits.
Okay.
Wait a moment.
Okay, here we go. Oh! I didn't realize that exploded. Okay, so let us get into what happened at the Devolver Digital show and the announcements there. I actually haven't watched the entire showcase, but I did check out the announcements. First one was Wizard with a Gun. This looked like, I guess, a cross between Magicka and Bastion to a certain extent. It looked good. I definitely liked the way it looked and see how it played. But yeah, it looked decent. I will definitely check that out when that comes. There's a demo right now that I think I'm going to check out as well. So, yeah, I would say I think that actually looked pretty cool. Talos Principle 2, it's kind of like, it's a lot like The Witness. If you guys remember that from Jonathan Blow. I didn't get too much into The Witness, and I haven't tried Talos Principle 1. So I don't know if I'm going to check that out or not, but we will see. It definitely looked good, I will say that. Baby Steps is the next one. Basically, you play as a man-child who has to learn how to walk again, I guess. It seems like it controls a lot like Octodad, where the buttons all did different things in order to make a move. So, I guess if you're into that, that looks kind of fun, but I'm not particularly interested. And then the last announcement, there was no gameplay for this, was Human Fall Flat 2. I'm not a fan of Human Fall Flat 1, to be completely fair. I know a lot of people were. I know my nephew was at a time, but that wasn't for me. I guess the nice thing to say is.
Lilith's been here.
Something's written on the altar. By stone and roots, by tears and pain.
Yeah, those announcements were neat. I definitely want to check out Wizard with a Gun, specifically. But I'm going to check out that whole presentation just to see how funny it was. So we'll move on to the stories of the week, and we're going to start with a bunch of things that were we're going to start with a bunch of things that were announced, such as streams and showcases and stuff. But I want to get to first, Capcom wants to know which Resident Evil you want remade next. You know,
Wait! We are not your enemy!
You know, what I would like, honestly, I think it's time to remake Resident Evil 1 like they've remade everything else. I don't think that's a bad idea on that end. So if they really want to answer that question to me, I'd say Resident Evil 1. Some might say either Resident Evil 0 or Code Veronica, which, okay, not a bad idea. I think it's time to redo 1.
She must be bending these heroes.
I know they did a remake of 1 already on the GameCube, but I think another one wouldn't be such a bad idea. Especially with how they are running and doing it now.
We don't know that yet. Come on.
Okay. Next story, Grasshopper Manufacturer to announce something on June 15th. It could be a game, it could be a live service. They could be announcing the reboot of Let It Die. That's something I definitely thought about. So, whatever it is, it's going to be June 15th. They usually have something pretty interesting. So, it's going to be definitely fascinating to find out what that is. But I think it's going to be something Let It Die related. Okay. Let's move on to the next story. Xbox says none of its first-party trailers will be full CG. Oh, now let me clarify this. They said it's gonna not be full CG. It could have some gameplay. It could be in-engine. It could be partially CG, but it's not gonna be all CG. Which, to me, doesn't really matter. To be honest. I know a lot of people are annoyed when it's just all CG, and I understand that. But what you don't understand, but the other thing as well is that even when they show gameplay or quote-unquote in-engine footage, that can change as well. So, and then in-engine could basically mean, this is the tricky thing. Things that are in-engine could mean that, yeah, we're showing a part of the game in-engine, and it's just a cutscene. That's technically in-engine. So, if you guys are all thinking, oh, it's going to be all gameplay, I doubt that. I think you're going to be a little disappointed if you're thinking it's all gameplay.
This must be the cairn of the elders.
I'd like to be wrong, though.
So much.
Moving on to the next story, Annapurna Interactive will have a showcase at the end of June. Yeah, Annapurna does some interesting games, so I will definitely like to see what they have.
These runes.
They do the more cinematic, kind of like 12 minutes types of games, so I definitely am interested to see what they show off as well. Next story is Capcom confirms Dragon's Dogma 2, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, and Extra Primal will be at their showcase. I think that's on Tuesday?
What do we do?
We'll need to stop her.
I think that was all a given. I'm actually kind of surprised they're going to show off Ghost Trick. Maybe there is more to that game than they are leading on. Because Ghost Trick is the remake, or I guess it's either that or a remaster of Ghost Trick on the DS, which I never got to play, so I am definitely interested in checking it out. But, yeah. They also said there's more announcements coming as well, so that's not all that's being shown off. So I would probably think updates on Street Fighter 6 and stuff like that. Some are thinking that a new Monster Hunter might be announced. I don't know. They just finished up the final thing for Monster Hunter Rise. So I don't know if that means that they're going to go ahead and announce a new Monster Hunter. But I've been wrong before. We will see. Okay, let's get to the next set of stories here. This is unfortunate. Paradox is refunding pre-orders of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Why are they doing that? Well, honestly, what it sounds like is that they're still nowhere near finishing the game. And I am not a lawyer, but I think they probably are afraid of getting some kind of legal problems for keeping pre-orders for that long. So, that's my opinion at least. I think what's going to end up happening is, what happens now is that if you had a physical pre-order, if you pre-order at, let's say, GameStop or Amazon, you're getting refunded, like, immediately. They're going to just automatically do it. Your pre-orders are no longer valid. You're going to refund your money.
That was one of the revered dead.
If you pre-ordered it digitally...
Returned to the worms. May they find rest.
Arlo.
Did you think we'd so easily join the dead, lad? How did you find your way up here?
Through the cairns.
Through them? Mighty brave of you. And mighty foolish.
Yes, if you pre-order it digitally, you have to request it, but if you do request it, you're going to get it, is basically what they said. So this sounds like either they are nowhere near finishing that game, or there is the possibility it gets canceled. So, and they don't want to say outright it's canceled just yet. So, if you are interested, if you have pre-ordered it and you haven't done, if you've done it digitally, you may make a decision as to whether you want to do. If not, if you did it physically, you're getting a refund. Next up, Shadows of the Damned getting a remaster. I said on the Discord, group I'm in right now, if something like Lollipop Chainsaw can get a remaster or a remake or whatever, it's not surprising Shadows of the Damned gets one either. But I think Shadows of the Damned was actually pretty fun. It's been a while since I've played it, so that's not a surprise to me. Well, it is kind of a surprise, but I did end up enjoying that game for what it was. Let's see, where do I go next? Take down them roots, boy. Alright. Next up, this was funny. Atlus accidentally announces Persona 5 Tactics and Persona 3 Reload. I guess these were supposed to be big surprise announcements for Microsoft, because they all have Microsoft branding surrounding them. And that sucks. I guess the joke is that somebody on Atlas is getting fired because they accidentally they basically accidentally put that out on Instagram, and it was only there for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and that's all it took for someone to record it and then save it and spread it around. So yeah, it's pretty much confirmed now. Persona 3 Remake is real, it's coming, and there's a Persona 5 Tactics game that's coming out, which I'm interested in. I'm going to check that out when that comes. But yeah, feel bad for that person who's going to lose his job, but them's the breaks. All right. Next story: Dead Cells reaches the 10 million unit sales mark, and Motion Twin, the developer, is announcing more DLC coming for Dead Cells. You know, I like Dead Cells, and I don't mind more DLC, but I gotta ask, what are they working on next? I mean, they could continue to support Dead Cells for as long as they want, sure. But they have to be getting to a point now where they probably want to make a new game, right? I mean, Dead Cells could still be making more money, and that's why they're sticking to putting more additions to Dead Cells, which, if that's the case, great. Keep going. But there's got to be a point where these guys are saying, you know, it might be time for us to, to start making something new.
I must wait a moment.
But if they are... they're still making money on that game. Good for them. But this seemed like an announcement that they're in development right now, so I wouldn't expect an announcement or a release for a good year or so, I would say. All right, let's get into the next segment here. Street Fighter 6 hits 1 million players in the first 3 days. That, I think, is a lot better than what 5 did. I might be wrong, but people are really happy with Street Fighter 6, except for the fact that when I tried to play it earlier this week, that they had problems with the online, which happens, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, people are happy with that game. It's selling very well. That's great for Capcom. And they're still having a dynamite year. My God, are they having a great year. And we'll kill these guys, and we'll get to the next story. All right, there we go. Okay, next story coming up. Okay. Next story coming up. Street Fighter 6 is the second game in a month to earn the Famitsu 40. Yeah, I don't really trust Famitsu, to be quite honest. They definitely have a bias against American-made games. So, I think Zelda Tears of the Kingdom got a 40 last month, and Street Fighter 6 gets a 40. I'm not saying it's undeserved, but they definitely bias towards Japanese-made games, which, fine, that happens. Okay, next story coming up. Diablo 4 is Blizzard's fastest-selling game ever, according to Blizzard. I have no idea what that means. They didn't provide any numbers or data for this. Like, saying something is the fastest selling game ever really says next to nothing. Like, best selling game of what? Like, of 1 million? Best selling game of 2 million? 500? We don't know. So until we get those stats, this kind of is a useless story to a certain extent. It's like, oh yeah, fastest selling of what? It's just fastest selling. Like, yeah, okay, dude. All right, whatever. But I don't doubt that it sold very well. A lot of people are playing this game. And they're talking about it on social media. So, would I be surprised if it, like, if I beat Diablo 3? No, I wouldn't. But, yeah.
Wait a minute.
All right. Let's get into the next story. All right, next segment coming up. Western Digital launches its Xbox Series X and S expansion cards at $80 for 500 gigabytes. And $150 for 1 terabytes. That's comparable to the prices that Seagate has after they lowered their prices, I think, about a month and a half ago. Yeah, more competition at space is good. So I am happy with that. I still think the memory is a little too pricey, but, you know, because it is proprietary, I can't really complain much else on that. All right. Okay. Get through these guys first before I get to the next story. Okay, next story coming up. Oh God. This is our final story. Apple unveils $3,500 Apple Vision Pro. Oh man. The tech looks really cool. I will give it that. But VR is so niche right now. I don't think anyone's asking for this amount of this expensive of a device. And $3,500. Good lord, that's a lot of money. I talked to Zero about this a couple days ago. And his thought process is this is kind of like the enthusiast thing, where only people who really want it and can afford it will buy it, and then they'll revise it and then probably sell it for like half that amount. Is what it sounds like they're gonna do. What we talked about at least, which is possible.
Please, Arlo, just for now.
Maybe we should go with him, Dad.
Well, the ale would be welcome.
I will deal with Eridan and Lilith. See them safely to Braystag.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see this selling. You know, I think it's going to sell okay for what it is, because there's still a bunch of people on the Apple atmosphere who don't mind paying a premium for something that, if you go to another company or another platform, is actually much less expensive. So I actually see this doing okay, but man, that is pricey. And then again, I'm not interested in VR, so that might be my thing too. Okay, well, this was quick. That is it. This is the final weekly dividend, guys. I want to first off say thank you for supporting what I do and watching what I do as well. Appreciate the comments I've gotten and criticism and feedback that I've gotten as well. So if you stuck with me throughout this time, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate it.
I'm not ready yet. ready yet.
Right. Okay, so let me get to the schedule that is happening for the next 2 days. Saturday is the review of A Single Man with Kim Shackman. So we're going to review that on Saturday. That will be out as Saturday as well. I am going to do a review of Portrait of a Lady on Fire for Sunday. I've said I wasn't sure if I was going to because I forgot that there are streams going on for Microsoft that day. I think I can get the review done and watch that movie before then. So that shouldn't be a problem. I will discuss. I will not be doing a reaction stream for the Xbox showcase and the PC gaming show. I'm going to watch it and go over the highlights on Monday. So if you were expecting that reaction channel, I'm sorry. I think I'm not going to do that.
Ready to face it? Not yet. But you are already strong.
Okay. And then Sunday I'm going to have the new announcement and how the channel and the podcast will go forward on this one. Yeah, if you guys aren't aware, if you only watch for the dividends, I actually do a podcast, and the podcast was called Capital Games. It's going to have a new name. That's what I'm going to announce the name of on Sunday. Of course, if you've seen the channel and the name of the channel now, you already know the name. So if you want to watch or listen to this content, or if you want to listen to this content through podcasts, you can do that there too. You don't have to go to YouTube. I am amiable to wherever. So if you are interested in that, check me out on the podcast if you want to just listen to my content through podcast form. Well, guys, this is it. This is the final weekly dividend. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Tune in next time where I discuss what goes on in the gaming industry. I am The Wiz. Talk to you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to this podcast segment. The Capital Games podcast is done every week, and we post it on all your favorite podcast apps, as well as segments on YouTube. If you want to listen to another segment, you can listen to a new one right there on the screen. We also do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. If you'd like, you can go ahead and click on that and see all the movies that we have reviewed from that point. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon.